On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. First, happy 4th of July. Unless you're watching this on the 5th, in which case, belated happy 4th of July. All said, not all who wander are lost. Ralph Waldo Emerson. I think actually this guy is a perfect example of someone who is in fact actually lost, but I think Ralph's quote is still admirable nonetheless. We're in interesting times, and for many of us, certainly many of us starseeds and stuff like that, we've been wandering for a long time, waiting for our time and day, and it seems to a large extent those times are upon us. The world is changing. This 4th of July, we've kind of got to remember this is really our emancipation from this deep state tyranny that many argue has been here for hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years. And we are actually part of something very great bringing it down. So happy 4th of July. Remembering our independence certainly from Britain and everything we've been through, but that was a level of tyranny, but yet we've still never really been free, have we? Until, well, the time's coming. The time is coming. Here's some great reminders of 4th of July, some Dan Scavino stuff, pro-Trump, you get it. Good stuff, feels good. Enjoy.
Together we are part of one of the greatest stories ever told, the story of America. It is the epic tale of a great nation whose people have risked everything for what they know is right and what they know is true. On this day, 243 years ago, our founding fathers pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to declare independence and defend our God-given rights. We will never forget that we are Americans and the future belongs to us. The spirit of American independence will never fade, never fail, but will reign forever and ever and ever. To every citizen throughout our land, have a glorious Independence Day. Have a great 4th of July.
Yes, and have a hot dog for me. Gonna definitely be doing some barbecuing. Think got some ribs and burgers going on at the Radio Style household today. I don't think we're going anywhere. Someone gave me some sparklers. We might actually light those up. Outside of that, that'll be the extent of my 4th of July, but wanted to definitely do a video and spend it with you guys that way. Here's another video of Trump. Scavino put this out as well. Just, again, good stuff and great reminders for where we're at right now.
I am here as your president to proclaim before the country and before the world, this monument will never be desecrated. These heroes will never be defaced. Their legacy will never, ever be destroyed. Their achievements will never be forgotten. And Mount Rushmore will stand forever as an eternal tribute to our forefathers and to our freedom. Those who seek to erase our heritage want Americans to forget our pride and our great dignity so that we can no longer understand ourselves or America's destiny. My fellow Americans, it is time to speak up loudly and strongly and powerfully and defend the integrity of our country. We will proclaim the ideals of the Declaration of Independence. America's future is in our hands. And ladies and gentlemen, the best is yet to come.
He just reminded me of something that I thought was hilarious back in the day. And it actually, I was doing customer service, and I literally walked away from the customer and said, all right, you can help her. And I said to the manager, and she totally understood why, but the lady was asking for 4 scones. And she said she wanted... So when she said that, I go, 4 scones and 7 years ago are found... And she's like, just do as you're told. And I just like... I'll never forget it. It was the coolest thing ever. It was such a weird response to me being rather funny. Frankly, at least, well, in my mind. Again, we can debate this at times. America is well prepared to continue our fight to sustain the constitutional order that enshrines our liberties. For as Jefferson wrote nearly 200 years ago this July 4th, quote, let the annual return of this day forever refresh our recollections of these rights and undiminished devotion to them. General Flynn put this out today. Enjoy a safe, happy 4th of July for sure. Now here's Barack Obama's version of it. He got kind of destroyed a little bit for it too, which is good. Again, I'm wondering if he's trying to get out there to make noise to help if they want to push Michelle into the spotlight. But I don't think they've got the power. We'll see. But his quote that he truthed or posted, "The 4th of July is about celebrating the big, bold, inclusive experiment that is our American democracy. And it has always been an experiment. Our democracy has never been guaranteed, which means we can't take it for granted. We need to keep fighting for it, keep improving it, and keep making sure it reflects the better angels of our nature instead of the worst. That, more than anything, is what America is all about." Really. So people responded. One, and Wokeness put, when the insurrectionists rose up and defeated tyranny. P.S. We're a constitutional republic. And Gunther Eagleman put, "We are a republic, dumbass." And we are. And they keep pushing for this concept of democracy. And they want to make it synonymous to a constitutional republic. And we've shared before, but there's a huge difference. Democracies could actually get rid of the Constitution if 51% of people in this country decided to vote to take it down. They could, and they would. But it takes more than that. It takes significantly more than that, because we are a republic, a constitutional republic. And because of that, we have inalienable rights that are not able to be taken away from us, even if the majority decides they don't like them. That's how we're not a democracy. And frankly, that's why it's good that we're not a democracy. Because California and New York would ultimately, or in Seattle and Chicago and whatever, would ultimately decide what the rest of us experience and which rights we are allowed to have. So for any of us, we celebrate the fact that we are a constitutional republic, not a democracy. So Barack Obama, you're an idiot. I'm just saying. Donald Trump truthed this out, which may not necessarily be the most appropriate thing, but still has some humor baked into it, that's for sure. But he says, "Happy 4th of July to all, including to our highly incapable president, who uses prosecutors to go after his political opponent, who choked like a dog during the debate, but tried to pretend it was international travel, only 12 days rest, and when the gig was up, he blamed it on a cold. Therefore, why would anyone say he's cognitively challenged? Also, respect to our potentially new Democrat challenger, Laugh-In Kamala Harris. She did poorly in the Democratic nomination process, starting out at number 2, and then ended up defeated and dropping out even before getting to Iowa. But that doesn't mean she's not a highly talented politician. Just ask her mentor, the great William Brown of San Francisco. Someone else that I have to compliment is a deranged Biden prosecutor named Jack Smith, who has become a legend in his own mind for all of these cases he has lost. The corrupt prosecutors are working hard for Crooked Joe, but it will never be enough. Make America great again. And the main reason I wanted to share that is because any chance any of those people hadn't heard or seen it or read it yet, I want it to pop up. I just want to be part of helping these things pop up on their radars and potentially ruining their day. Le Pen, this is the dude that's possibly going to take down Macron in France. We've got a little bit of a tick for tack going back and forth. So Macron got everybody that was running but below him or on the other parties or however it kind of works over there. I kind of explain it in here a little bit, but whatever. He gets them all to drop out and I guess push their votes to him. So he's calling this a last-minute coup d'etat. This is what the Le Pen guy is accusing Macron of doing. They issued the statement Wednesday urging cool-headedness and moderation aimed at the National Rally Party and its supporters after Marine Le Pen on Tuesday charged that Macron is leading an administrative coup d'etat to make last-minute appointments in order to throw up roadblocks should Jordan Bardella assume office as prime minister. Not sure if how they work the double L over there. I know in Italy they say it, right? Spanish they don't. They kind of turn it into a Y sound. So I don't know what the hell they do in Francais. Parlez-vous? No, I do not. It is a form of administrative coup d'etat, they say, denounced Le Pen, who described that Macron is seeking to counter the vote of electors, the result of the elections, by appointing people to him so that they prevent within the state from being able to lead the policy that the French want. So again, they're trying to cheat in the elections. We'll see it here too. John Harold posted this, and I think it's a very strong thing to keep in mind. If there is one thing I'm confident in It's that the people who spent the last 3.5 years telling us that Joe Biden was cogent and the best president in history would never lie to us about the results of the election that got us here in the first place, right? We can totally trust these people to tell us the truth because they lied to us about everything. 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 And the only stuff that they haven't necessarily been caught in is the election because we're still working on it. And they're going to try to cheat again. We know that. I think we're prepared for it more or less this time around. We'll see. Now, Biden-Harris headquarters put this out. 4th of July under Trump's Project 2025. And he's, I don't know, got like a bunch of monks or something. A big cross instead of the actual Capitol, which, would probably be better in the big picture. But it's kind of like their attempt to stab at Trump, and it's sort of weird. I don't know. But then you've got someone like Dan Scavino who's serious about his attempts to attack and smear the other side.
Before thousands were brutally killed, including Americans. Before Iran helped Hamas plan the attack, killing Americans. Before Biden gave billions of taxpayers' money.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Biden sucks so bad. I mean, I feel like I say that too much, possibly. Sure, maybe. Also, you guys notice how all the pictures of Trump, he was in color and everything else was black and white? That was pretty cool. Anyway, whatever. I think it was the second. I didn't really watch it the first time as much listen to it. Here's Joe Biden doing, I think, an amazing job on the 4th of July, just really demonstrating how strong a grasp he has on speaking, how with it he actually is, just his mental acuity. He is sharp. I think that's what they keep saying, sharp. He's sharp. He is a sharpity sharp. He's a Sharpie pen. That's what he is. He's so sharp. He's one of those. Constantly sharp. Or a mechanical pencil. That almost works, but they're easy to break. But whatever. Let's not get off on too far a tangent, Dan.
So thank you all. God bless you all. Let's go lick the world. Let's get it done.
Yeah, go lick the world, man. Go, I mean, right? We say that all the time. I'm sure your family was the same way, right? Like when you were partying, like after Thanksgiving, and you're like, bye mom, bye dad, we'll see you later. Hey, go lick the world. Right? Like everybody says it like all the time. World licking is a thing now. I think it's possibly a new Olympic sport. World licking. Not sure what it tastes like. Probably water, I guess. Salty water, most likely. Anywho, Donald Trump Jr. posted this in regards to Frank J. Fleming's post. Frank said, "The way Trump is remaining completely silent while the Democrats self-destruct is kind of scary. It's like that scene in Jurassic Park where the Velociraptor learns how to open the door or whatever, opens the door handle, and Donald Trump Jr. posted this. Not gonna lie, this is funny. he's right. But here's kind of what's happening on the left. And again, if I want to quote my brother properly, it's us on the right that are violent. But anywho, here's Matt Croyle, who is definitely not on the right. He says, if you have friends and family members who support Trump, if it comes down to it, you may literally have to kill them before they kill you. This is where this is headed. This is a 50 alarm effing fire. Okay, that doesn't sound like asking for violence or anything like that. Now, granted, whoever posted this early on anyways, this guy had a lot of views and very few reposts and stuff because it's such a douchey thing to say. All said. When we talk about whether, Russia's Trump's a Putin puppet and all this nonsense, this is, to me, is demonstration of where we're at, where the world leaders are at. Everyone realizes that Joe Biden is not actually in charge. Here's Putin, and fortunately they have verbal subtitles in here, because otherwise it would sound like this with except Russian words. I swear to God, if you play words backwards, it sounds very Russian to me. I think that's the trick they did. I've said this before, but I think that's how this whole world's been kept all messed up is they just learned a language backwards, and then the rest of us speak it the other direction, and nobody ever understands what the hell anybody's saying. It's fantastic. All said, here's Putin.
Well, you know, the fact that Mr. Trump, as a presidential candidate, says that he's ready and wants to stop the war in Ukraine, we take that very seriously. Well, I haven't seen his ideas on how exactly he's going to do that, and that is the key question. But I have no doubt that he says that sincerely, and we support that.
Yeah, Trump's actually going to stop the war, and Putin knows that, and he's like, yeah, I look forward to this, because, I mean, if anything, he understands that Trump gets the big picture, and, yeah, he's not going to ask for something stupid, and then we'll figure out how to sell it to the American people, and ultimately that's what it all comes down to. You got to sell what you got. You got to shake your thing. BlackRock is enacting a new voting policy for funds that consider climate change objective. This is just kind of an example of some of the crazy that's happening. I did finally chop up that Mark Moss thing. I think it's like 2 minutes or so, and we're going to play it today. So I kind of want you guys to understand how buying, not just for the purpose of the drslikesgold.com, but for the purpose of understanding what actually is happening with inflation. And he explains it really, really well. And I think really wrapping our heads around that gives us a better chance to make smart choices, no matter where you are in your financial system, like of your life, right? Like there's certain things that actually kind of make sense. And he does actually spend a little time even explaining housing a little bit, because the way we're able to do it, it's actually a help or a hedge against inflation, which is very cool. But he said if you were just buying it cash, it'd be an absolute horrible investment. It's all explained, but it's fantastic. And then we've got issues like this with BlackRock. Now, this is going to make even more sense, kind of. But BlackRock enacting voting policies, different companies that are doing the ESG stuff, they're favoring over companies that aren't. And this is who's investing a lot of the money in many of the mutual funds and the 401ks, the IRAs, all that kind of crap. Now, just to talk about the Cat 4 Hurricane Beryl heading towards Texas, and they're saying it's threatening major oil refineries. I think it's a little early to tell. They have got a lot of tracks for it, but it does seem like it's going to run right up the coast of Mexico, straight slamming into Texas. Many are suggesting this is where there's a lot of our oil refinery is happening in this part of Texas. I do think they would try to steer something like this, obviously, into it. But I will also say, the ocean temperatures are really warm, especially in this area. We've got really, really warm temperatures. This storm is definitely going to pick up all sorts of power. So this could, and it's already the first earliest storm ever. Now, I'm not trying to get on the bandwagon of climate change. No, I actually think we have a bigger problem, and it's not CO2. It's the fact that we've got something major happening to this solar system right now, and it's causing warming on this planet, and it's causing a weakening of our magnetic field. This is what we're actually dealing with. I think that has a lot to do with a lot of this. I know there's a lot of people that are like, that's technology being used. I think they're steering storms with technology, and I think they can make them worse, but I think there's a lot of this that's actually nature. Storms have happened forever on this planet, but there is an enhancement that we're seeing once they get moving, and there seems to be an easy ability to steer them. So we're learning a lot. That's all I can say. So we'll see. This Gulf is not a pretty place for where we're at when it comes to all that. I think this was supposed to be my reminder of the video. So I've got this Mark Moss thing cut up, and this is, I don't know, it's 3 minutes 45. Sorry, but it's actually, I think, super good at explaining how the monetary system is getting jacked, why inflation is what it is, and he kind of ties it not so much to the fact that prices are going up, but that the value of the dollar, the denomination, is going down. And he does go to some lengths to explain this, and considering how much cool stuff is in here, 345 is way worth it. And again, DRS likes gold for sure. You want to keep that in mind, and I'm going to have it on the screen. But Mark Moss is someone that I definitely listen to, and he's definitely good. He doesn't follow everybody else. He has been paying attention. This dude's pretty smart, pretty awoke a woken dude or whatever the hell. So anyway, check it out.
Why are those purchasing power units going down? Well, it's because the government continues to increase their debt. And look at this trend line growth difference. As a matter of fact, it took a few hundred years to get to 1 trillion in debt, and now we're adding it about every quarter. And so as they print these more currency units, they buy you less and less, so they go down, but the price goes up. The S&P 500 basically is just like a proxy for inflation. It basically represents the money supply increases. So that's not where you're going to make any money. And unfortunately, for most people, they're just passively investing. As a matter of fact, the rise of passive investing has only gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. My money goes from my paycheck into my mutual funds, my 401k, and they just put it into the S&P 500 index. That's why you're not making any money. Let's take a look at some of this. If I look at the S&P 500 and I divide it by the increase in the money supply. So what I can see is there was a peak right here back in 2000, and it's never reclaimed its high. This is where it would be, it need to be this level. So since 2000, your S&P 500 index that you're probably investing into has never reclaimed its high. I mean, it's gone up and down, but it's basically flat. Look how flat it's been right here. Now, if we look at the S&P 500 priced in other things, so for example, the S&P 500 is an asset, just like gold or your house or your food is an asset. So we can look at your house. How many US dollars is your house worth? How many ounces of gold is your house worth? How many barrels of oil is your house worth? How many Bitcoins is your house worth? So we can look at it priced in different things. Now, I say this all the time, we don't want money. We want the things, the goods and services money buys us. We need commodities. We need real things. We need gas. We need energy for our house, right? And so if we take a look at the S&P 500 priced in commodities, things that we really need, we can see that again, it's down. So this is why, even though your index says it's at new all-time highs, you feel more poor than ever, because in terms of real things that you really need, it's actually losing money. You're actually going broke. Now let's look at it a couple other ways. As I said, the Case-Shiller index, the United States housing market, just hit a new all-time high last week. Well, did it really? Because what we can see right here, since the year 2008, homes have never recovered their high. Now, on paper, yes, my home has never been worth more. But when you adjust it for the money supply, for the increase in the money, it's actually down 48%. This is not since 2006, not 2008. So since 2006, my home has actually lost 48% of value compared to the increase in the money supply. Let's look at some other assets though. So the S&P 500 is not a good place to be. Real estate's not a good place to be. But let me say this, first of all. Real estate works. First of all, real estate would be a horrible investment for us if we had to pay cash for homes. But we don't. We use leverage, and so that leverage allows us to make a higher return. We also get what we call inflation debt destruction, so that because we can lock in 30-year loans in America, other countries not so lucky, that inflation destroys that. And then if it's a rental property, I let someone else pay it off for me. So real estate works, and also tax efficiency as well. So real estate works because of those 4 other factors. But if I had to pay cash, as I showed you, it'd be a horrible investment. But not everything is lost, don't worry, because there's golden tickets. So, for example, gold. Gold is up 48%, even in the face of all the money printing. So not only has gold been able to overcome the loss from the money printing, it's up 48%.
That's the big thing I was trying to explain. The buying power has gone down of the dollar, and this is happening. This is happening. They're even printing more money, and it's happening faster and faster. Now, how Trump approaches this, or whether this thing collapses before he gets there, which is, I don't know, kind of likely, we'll see. But there's a lot of talk of the bubble. There's a lot of talk how 401ks and IRAs are tied to the S&P. The S&P has just been growing at this deficit rate. The fact that they're printing money as fast as they are, that's what it's going up. It's just going up with inflation. So you're staying almost even. Gold's actually positive as far as what you can buy with it today versus what you could just recently. It's actually going up, like you said, 45%. It's a really smart investment to get out of their system in stocks and get into the system that is going to help hedge and protect you, which of course is drslikesgold.com. You get into a precious metals backed IRA, and then we call it your gold kit. So you want to get your gold and silver kit. That's just all the information that's around this. But ultimately transferring out of their system, tax-free penalty-free into a precious metals backed that right now is way outperforming everything else in buying power and in price. It's an awesome place to invest. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Don't wait another minute. There's all sorts of crazy stuff happening. We've got potential wars at risk happening. Any day, something could happen that's going to puncture a hole in this bubble, and they're not going to be able to save it. Don't be in their system after that happens. Get out of their system before it happens. That's why so many of you have been brilliantly, and you're going to be, I want to say saved from a lot of the pain. You're getting out with maximum dollars at the best time, right before calamity. I don't know exactly when and where. We don't. None of us do. You guys know that. We don't know. But the writing on the wall suggests we've got a huge problem. Precious metals hedge against that. Also, if you're sitting on a bunch of cash, you're losing value every single day. You want to buy some precious metals because it's a transference of cash into precious metals, which, again, will hold that buying power through the time and, in fact, gain. Yeah, you want to also reach out. drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. You got 50 grand sitting in the bank, 25 grand in the bank. Get some precious metals sent back to you. Literally. And I've done this too. I am a customer as well. They are awesome. They are the best company I've ever dealt with when it comes to customer service and stuff. They are just friggin' masters. Go to drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Make that huge step in protecting yourself from them. You don't have to live in their reality. You can take it with you and find a future day where we can liquidate that back into treasury notes or whatever. drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you, as I frequently have said. All right, some FJB stuff that we should talk about. This is actually interesting. So Jeff Zients was sent a letter by Michael R. Turner. He's a chairman of some House whatever the hell, right? House Representative, something or other, right? He sends this out to Mr. Zients. He says, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre has confirmed that Hunter Biden is attending official White House meetings involving the president and his staff. I write to request a full accounting of any classified information discussed or disclosed in these meetings. According to news reporting, the president's son's sudden presence at official meetings has caused confusion for some White House staff, prompting a reaction of, what the hell is happening? I'm going to open this up in Telegram so I can read it better. It's hard to see. It is disturbing to learn these events are transpiring in the West Wing, especially via news sources. It is unclear what official meetings and phone calls Hunter Biden is participating in, and in what capacity, and whether these discussions include classified information. An immediate response is requested. Please notify the committee of its official meetings Hunter Biden is participating in, and if classified information is being disclosed now that Hunter Biden is allegedly taking meetings with the president. Thank you for your prompt response. So yeah, that's not cool, right? We don't want Hunter sticking around there, do we? Now, Kennedy, I love this dude. He comes up with some of the funniest little phrases. He's got a couple good ones in there. I don't know. I just like hearing him talk sometimes. So that's why he's in here. Talking about Biden, making fun of him kind of in his own way and how party's got to figure it out and just being Senator Kennedy. Good stuff.
Well, I listened to the president's press secretary. I've heard better answers on the dating game. She's blamed the president's performance on jet lag, a cold, staff. They've blamed it on everything but murder hornets. Look, I watched the debate like everybody else. I thought President Trump's performance was one of his best. I thought, obviously, President Biden's performance was a multiple vehicle pileup. I don't know if President Biden will quit. I wouldn't bet my house on it. And if I were betting your house, it would be a maybe.
Too legit to quit. Hey, that's what Joe Biden, right? I should be playing that song. Too legit to quit. Hi, right? They did the too legit quit, right? MC Hammer. No, I know crickets. There's probably like 12 of you that have heard the song, but yeah, I'm not going to do a musical spotlight of MC Hammer. I can't even imagine that going well. That'd be fun to try though. Axios put this out. ABC News shifts Biden's Stephanopoulos interview to Friday. He was initially going to do it Sunday, but then switched it to Friday. There's this major push right now to get Biden up in front to demonstrate how incredibly good he is. Now, I think literally Biden, I do think, is trying his best to show the world that he can do this. He's been working 6 hours a day, and he's only been, I think, in office something like I don't know, 38, 40%, 42%. Most of the time, like 42% of the time he's been on vacation, something like that, 40%, somewhere around there. He's been on vacation for a lot of his term as president. So here we are. Now all of a sudden he's actually having to work, and the dude's just going to get worse, and he's going to get grumpy, and it's going to be epic. So he's going to fail. Zero question about it. We've got everybody coming out right now. Kathy Hochul and all these people. We'll play that here, I think, right here. Kathy Hochul's coming out, talking about how everybody's behind him. And then all the governors got pissed off, all the Democratic governors anyways, got pissed off at her because they're like, she didn't have a right to say that, and she doesn't speak for all of us. And I'm not going to play it because it's not worth it, but she's talking about how we've totally got Biden. We've got Biden's back no matter what. You got Nancy Pelosi saying it, Schumer. All these guys are on record saying this. No matter what, Biden's the guy. No matter what, Biden's the guy. Even if he's dead and we got to drag him across the finish line, it won't matter because he'll still beat Trump. Which is impossible, but okay. So they seem like they're the deep state people anyways. And I feel like this is kind of what we're seeing also, by the way, like the separation, right? You're seeing the deep state people come out. All the people that are like, Biden no matter what, Biden no matter what. And you're like, wow, really? He is seriously Weekend at Bernie's at this point. You can't say that. How can you still say that? And actually look at yourself in the mirror and be like, yep, you're doing everything you can to make the world a better place. Or maybe he says the opposite. I don't, right? Like, how can anyone come to that conclusion? The level of delusion that needs to be present is beyond words. So yeah, a bunch of the Democratic governors are pissed. In fact, they've come out and said the opposite. They've said they're actually concerned about it. I forget who, one of them was like Maine governor. She came out, the governor of Maine. Moore, Hochul, Minnesota's Tim, all that, yada, yada. Yeah, here it is. Janet Mills of Maine pulled no punches and blasting Biden over the week's dreadful debate performance after he tried to soothe them by saying he'd been given a thumbs up from the medical checkup. Like that's supposed to help make her feel better. Like we all saw what happened. So the doctor says you're fine. Okay. Then are you just an idiot? Was it too much pressure? What? Right? Everybody's got this fun little problem they live in. And anybody that's up for re-election right now that's a Democrat is freaking out. They're like, hell no, we're not going to support Biden. Are you kidding me? I will never get elected. But a lot of these people, like even Maine, a lot of these people are saying, I don't think Biden can win my state anymore. Which hopefully is true. There's a lot happening. And who knows? Maybe there is some true patriots on the other side of the fence that when it comes to like overwhelming numbers in support of Trump, will be like, nah, this is obviously what's happening. We'll see. I think a lot of people are going to be very, very frustrated with Biden by the time we get anywhere near the election. Here is a reasonable, candid video that was happening with Donald Trump. I can't imagine this was by accident. I think Donald Trump would feel douchey if he literally recorded himself doing this, but having himself recorded saying this, he can just be like, but it's funny as hell.
What did I do with the debate the other night?
Oh, amazing.
He kicked that old broken down pile of crap.
Yeah.
It's a bad guy. He just quit, He's quitting the race.
Is that right?
Yep, I got him out of the race. And that means we have Kamala. I think she's going to be better. She's so bad. She's so pathetic.
It's so amazing.
It's just so fucking bad. So
I just can't imagine.
But can you imagine that guy dealing with Putin and the president of China, who's a fierce person? He's a fierce man, a very tough guy. And they see him, they can't. But they just announced he's probably quitting.
Good. Yeah, that's amazing.
Just keep knocking him out, right? What did I do with the debate the other night?
By the way, that is, I don't want to say kissing ass to Xi. It's not at all. It's respect to Xi, what he said. And that is why Trump does better in general in the big picture, is because He understands what's up. He understands how to play the game, but he also understands how to be respectful of a leader of another country. Well, yeah, Biden is not that, though, right? And he's running against him. Now, here is Putin also commenting on being ready to resume dialogues with the U.S. under a different administration. And here's why. Because Putin's acknowledging to the rest of the world and to us, Biden's not the next administration. No matter what, it's not Biden. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, as for international security, I just said we need to wait till the new administration appears. We'll need to see their preferences, their views, their plans, and whether they are willing at all to be talking about this. We've been receiving certain signals from time to time that they want to resume this dialogue, and then they just disappear again and start talking about different things totally unrelated to strategic stability. Once again, I say, let's see. Let's wait till the new administration is formed, and then we will understand their plans and preferences. We are ready for that.
Again, this is where we're heading, folks. And we are heading to a multipolar world, unquestionably. Like it, don't matter, really. I mean, unfortunately, you can have an opinion about it. Sure, that's cool, it's great. But ultimately, that's what's happening. It's not my choosing. It's just the way it is. And I mean, it makes sense to me, frankly. We as the United States, I think, have done a piss-poor job as being stewards. We've forced a lot of countries to do and bend at our will. And we've always called it democracy, right? Think about your entire lifetime. It's always been about the fight for democracy. See how they've done this forever? Forever. Deep State's been there for... I mean, we noticed points in time where they took over and they undid what the founding fathers were doing. Like, we can go back, whether it was, the 1780, whatever the hell, right? Or 1880, what? Right, when they changed the Constitution, right, back then. I'm not a historian. I always forget the date. Doesn't matter. It's just time in history. I don't even think the dates are real, by the way. I think they shifted our calendar a while back. But whatever. Let's not get lost in the weeds. People understand what's happening. And we've got leaders that are stepping up. Viktor Orban is stepping up right now. We've got, so who this is going Venezuela or whatever? Who's the guy down there saying something or other? Forgetting all these leaders. Doesn't matter. Again, everybody's got their places. And then we got Macron that's coming down. We've got England that's possibly changing with Farage maybe or something. I don't know. People are starting to wake up over there, I hope. But we've got Europe even starting to shift right because they realize how crazy things are and how bad things have become. And we were kind of able to snap a lot of people out of it before they went over the falls. Again, we went right up to the edge of the falls and managed to make the turn. And everybody sitting on the waterfall side of the craft, if you will, got a really good view of how we almost went off the edge. Some of us were like up in the wheelhouse, feverishly trying to make things happen. And we, I think, accomplished. We'll see. It feels to me definitely the pendulum is past center now. We're actually starting to go off to the right. Now, we'll probably go over extreme a little bit, but that's just part of the game. A lot of stuff needs to be undone. And a lot of things are changing very quickly. And the key players on this planet know it and are playing their parts too, the best we understand. Now, we're finding out that Joe Biden's top advisor seems to have a lot of control in her entire life and likely a lot of control into the entire Biden administration. So this is this dude in the background, and he's always there. He's always like, this is his wife, Jill, the East Wing, as they call it. It is her primary dude. We got a dead in July 4th shooting at Yellowstone National Park right outside Popular Hotel. All right, nice, not bad. That's I didn't know that. And we do have a thing coming up what I call terrorism, by the way. We'll see. It's coming up here in a sec. But yeah, this is Joe Biden's main dude, primary. Everybody goes through him. You want to schedule something with Jill? You want anything to happen? This is the dude. This guy, they say, is possibly one of the most powerful people in Washington right now. Because Joe's not running anything, is he? Joe's not. That hamster wheel's been squeaking far too long. It stopped working long ago. It's just in there. Jill and son Hunter push Joe to fire staff, right? Because it's all their fault. They've had a whole nother meeting, I guess, right? It's another Biden swoops in to circle the wagons with the presidential bid, they're saying, right? All of this, it's their fault, finger pointing, basically. Because can't possibly be Biden's fault. I'd say you put Biden anywhere and let him just do Biden. Biden, you just do you. Show the world how it's not anybody else's fault. It's just 100% you at the moment. Tell us from your heart, Joe, what you think. And I guarantee that's going to go off the rails in about 2 seconds. If that. It'll probably start off the rails. It'll be like some weird version of train. It won't happen. It won't work. But we'll watch it, and he won't be able to blame anybody. They're just collapsing right now. So Hip Hop Magazine calls Kamala Harris's pandering attempt at voter appeal on BET Award unflinchingly corny. Unflinchingly corny. This is Hip Hop Magazine calling her out. This is a big deal. What Hip Hop Magazine is it? Like, I even know. But they're talking about BET. Actually, anyway, there's I don't want to say what I'm involved with. It's kind of funny. I actually got pulled into a phone call yesterday, in fact, on something that's technically secret. It's so much fun to know stuff. It doesn't have anything to do with what we do on this channel. It has to do with the other life that I live, but yeah, it's fun knowing stuff that nobody knows. We'll find out soon, but not yet. Vice President Kamala Harris cringe appearance at the BET Awards. She's getting hammered for it on some parent hip-hop magazine that they didn't mention. Maybe it's in the actual article that I'm not going to read. Hey, let's real quick remind you guys of something that I am extraordinarily fond of. One, I've been taking the product myself, but it's really not what I think is the coolest about it. I mean, really what's the coolest about it is the healing properties. So there's this thing called Coriolis versicolor. It's a particular kind of mushroom. First off, animals, not all mushrooms are good for animals, right? Not even the ones that are necessarily okay for us to eat are necessarily good for your animal. You should do research if you're going to do that. They have over 400 studies, by the way, that have been done about the benefits of this Coriolis versicolor mushroom. I've got a friend, if you will, that had a tumor and literally used this product. I actually finished my first thing. I'm on my second one here now. I haven't opened it yet, but this is the in-person version, or the person version of it. It's called Enforce Plus. This actually has the Coriolis versicolor mushroom as well as this other mushroom product in it. It's kind of an extra whammy, if you will. But one of the benefits that comes with this particular mushroom is its anti-cancer components to it. And there's been some other large health components that have come with it. It's almost like it's a weird, not even that it enhances the immune system, but almost like gets the immune system working the way it was designed to work. And it seems to be able to undo cancers. There's studies of it. And what a lot of the people talk about when they've done I got to remember to play them or read them again, but the people that have just raved about this product, and you can go and you can read it. It's on the same channel, Pet Club 247. Where is it? Reviews. And they got research. Like, they got all the stuff. You can look into it. Just go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. They've got everything there. The reviews are talking about the dogs that have been sick. My dog got better. All they had to do was, and most people say the mush puppies, which start at like $28. That's it. You got this treat that your dog's going to love, and it's got that Coriolis versicolor mushroom in it. It's got other stuff too, but it's no sugars, no chemicals. They're actually super healthy foods. They've got dry food, wet food, Mojos. They've got the mush puppies. They got the couple of them, plus has the extra stuff in it. Right? They've got Mojos, like I said. They've got the different pills that you can break up in their food. Oh, this is everything. Sorry, I should go to dogs specifically. That's where I was like, why is this different? Yeah, the mush puppies. We've got Mojos, which are both like treats that are healthy treats, but also have this versicolor in them, which helps. You got that sick dog or sick cat, these products are incredible. They've got the dried food, they've got the wet food, right? They've got dog biscuits. They even have mutt mints, right? Natural peppermints and stuff like that, if you will, that actually help the dog's breath a little bit. And these things kind of help with gum disease and stuff. You got that dog that's just got that nasty mouth. Seriously, get some mutt mints too while you're at it. On top of that, a lot of us use toys that are made in China. So these rubbers have chemicals in them. These rubbers have all sorts of weird stuff, or these plastics or whatever. And they make our dogs sick. We don't realize it. We don't mean to, but that's kind of what happens. So they've even got toys for dogs. They've got these antler sticks, which are healthy. What they're made of is actually good for the dog, and it's good for their health as well. So they've got a couple different versions of those. They even got an antler split rope toy that's, again, no chemicals and all the crazy stuff. Like, you've got a pet, and you're like me. I had to put down a dog once. Like, the dog had cancer really bad. If I would have known about this was like almost 20 years ago when this happened. But it was the hardest thing I ever went through. And I think a lot of us have been through that experience. You want that little guy or little girl or whatever to live a lot longer. This helps. And they're reasonably priced, folks. It's a great product, healthy as heck. And they even got the human versions. They've got dogs, cats, horses, and humans. Great products. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Again, just going to help healthy everybody. Like, it's super good stuff. Super good stuff. Here is Speaker Johnson, talking to McKinney, whatever her name is. I'm going to screw it up if I continue because I know I'm not going to get it right. Kayla McInerney. Yeah. Anyway, close enough. Names and dates are just my whole life. Like, names and dates are just two things, and I have a good reason for why, but all said, it doesn't matter. Here's Speaker Johnson doing his thing.
I've been concerned about what our adversaries see. We need to make certain tonight one thing is clear. China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, that they understand that the U.S. military is ready to act at any time. And regardless of the turmoil with regard to the president, America is strong. We will defend our interests, and you need not second guess that.
You need not second guess that. He's basically saying, look, no matter what, we're still America, or essentially the military's in charge. Don't worry. Kind of, I think, maybe what he's almost saying. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping boasted Wednesday that their regional security alliance was a global force that would serve as a counterweight to Western influence. We've forced the two quote-unquote biggest powers, nuclear-wise, on the planet into bed with each other. Nothing bad can possibly come from that. But again, this is the deep state fight. This is why it's happening. So it's part of having control and balance on this planet rather than one group being able to control everybody. It's the concept that we keep referring to as democracy here by the deep state, or the deep state calls it democracy, but it's control is what they want. They want control. They want power, and they want more of it. And they understand that if Trump gets back in office, their days are done. Done. Not over, not like waning, done. Done. Government will be shrunk. Government will be brought down to where it should be. A lot of regulations will be immediately struck. And Trump won't have to worry about being reelected. He won't care. It'll be about doing things right. And he's going to have a lot of us making the ripples to help make it possible. Now, Tucker Carlson put something out that's very funny. I don't know what's up. I don't know why this played out. But Tucker Carlson posted, looks like we got the Zelensky interview. I was actually thinking to myself, sweet. We've been trying for 2 years, and with particular intensity after interviewing Putin in February. The point is to bring Americans much-needed information about the conflict that's completely reshaping their country's position in the world. Coming soon, we hope. And then Zelensky posts something somewhere. He said, Mr. Tucker Carlson should check his FSB sources more carefully. The president of Ukraine has a completely different schedule, and Tucker Carlson is not on it. Essentially saying, we're not meeting with you. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Willis? So Zelensky's not going to talk to Tucker, which would be an excellent way to share this wonderful story you've got to share. But the problem lies in the fact that Tucker's going to ask questions that aren't sanctioned. You see how this works? The main deep state character over there in Ukraine, the puppet, he can't possibly talk to Tucker. They'd have to kill him before it would even be allowed. And he's not, I don't think, willing to die. I don't think he wants to. Zelensky is now challenging Trump, big whoop. Tell us today how to finish the war. And Trump's never going to do that. First off, if Trump were president, he'd have a different set of powers available to him that he doesn't right now. And Biden is not capable of being Trump, so it's not the same thing. Trump could end this war like that. Biden cannot. Even with Trump's approach, Biden couldn't. Because Biden has destroyed the view we have, or the view we're held by others in this world. Now, one thing that people are talking about with NATO under Trump, and so maybe this is where, I don't know, China happens later, the Taiwan thing, we'll see. But Trump and NATO, they're talking about actually sort of pulling a lot of the U.S. forces out of any of the Ukrainian stuff, any of the European stuff, and focus our forces more over with China and on that side of the fence. And we'll let Europe worry about Europe. And that's actually a brilliant idea when you think about it, right? Money spent. Like, why should we be wasting money from a bunch of people that don't even pay their fair share, which is changing, to defend them from themselves? Why should we be doing that? We shouldn't. Because we're not the policemen of the entire world. There's multiple nuclear powers on this planet that can help keep people in line. It doesn't need to be us in all cases. We just need to stop being dicks to everybody else, including Russia and China. Javier Milei demolishes a journalist asking him if he intends to apologize to Brazil's Lula for insulting him. Porter says, "So, you won't apologize to Lula?" And Milei is like, "Why should I apologize for calling him corrupt? He was in prison for corruption, wasn't he? And me labeling him a communist, isn't he a communist? Since when do you need to apologize for speaking the truth?" Thank God for the leaders we have that have the balls, no, I'm not trying to be sexual, but for the balls to do what's right. New Dutch government, I guess, is promising to slash mass migration. Holland's done with it. They're like, no mas. No mas. Hoofd, schouder, knieën, it's literally whatever language they speak there in Dutch. What the hell language is that? What do you guys speak over there? Dutchese. Dutchanese? I think it's Dutchanese. It's not true at all. Hollandaise sauce? No, I don't know what it is, actually. I have no idea what language that was. I had a friend that was from there, and she taught me that head, shoulders, knees and toes song. That's the only reason I know that, but funny how life works sometimes. But the new Dutch government promises to slash mass migration. Everybody in Europe understands the problem. Very few people are allowed to step outside the lane, but they're starting to. We're seeing it happen. Thank God. Fact-checking the fact-checkers. Dustin Duchamp does some very, very good work. And Stillness in the Storm, he stopped supporting that website, unfortunately, but it was a grand website. I think he's doing stuff some other place. But huge love for him. I saw him at a Clay Clark thing one time. I remember turning around. I saw that crazy beard and mustache. I'm like, dude, I pulled up his site on my phone. I'm like, this is you, right? Anyway, I fanboyed for a second. It was kind of funny. All said, Trump said, Nancy Pelosi, if you've just watched the news from 2 days ago on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, or they say, or what she's saying, or, oh no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this because I offered her 10,000 soldiers who are National Guard and she turned them down. And then the Times said, Mr. Trump is distorting what Representative Nancy Pelosi, then the House Speaker, said. Ms. Pelosi did not admit to turning down National Guard troops. She does not have such authority. Come to find out, the Times was wrong. Again, and again, and again, and again, and again. It's not like it's an accident. It's not like it's coincidence for anybody that's on the other side of the fence. Well, they just know extra info came out. You mean they didn't actually do a good job reporting it in the first place? Let's say it the way it is, okay? Let's stop sugarcoating stuff. Let's stop pretending, all right? Let's call a spade, as they would say. Sean Combs is the subject of federal criminal investigations. There is so much crap going on around this dude. There's now a Omicron or she's got some crazy ass name. It's pretty funny. Omicron's the flu thing, but it's so weird. It's a weird ass name similar like that. But she's some porn star that he forced to do all sorts of salacious stuff. Yeah, I don't know. This dude's going down in a big way. But I did want to point out, and this is the most important thing, because I can kind of consider this whole thing to be sort of it's important. It's like Epstein, but it's also sort of distraction. It's kind of like they allowed that extra Epstein stuff to come out and probably shouldn't have. But this is coming out of the Southern District of New York, SDNY. Again, how many things are tied up in SDNY? Like, that is like the Vatican library of legal shit. All of it. SDNY. All of it. Hillary's laptop, or Hillary Hunter's laptop, Diddy, Epstein, a whole bunch of crap. Whole bunch of other stuff that I never have a chance of remembering. All of it in one place. SDNY, Southern District, New York. New York City, the place that's literally going after a president by themselves because they think they can. New York. The Big Ol' Apple. I don't think they say it like that typically, but they should. Rudy Giuliani's creditors, including 2 former Georgia election workers who won the $148 million defamation judgment against him, well, they're opposed to his attempts to convert his bankruptcy into a liquidation because they're not going to get paid. And they're like, we want our money. We already spent it. We bought new wigs and stuff. That was pretty disrespectful, but probably in line. Probably not too far off. Senator Bob Menendez declines to testify in his bribery trial as the defense rests. Smart. You shouldn't really testify in a lot of cases for yourself, like because then they can ask you questions and you don't want to have to perjure yourself, and you certainly don't want to have to tell, I take the fifth. You don't want to do those things ever if you can avoid it. Because taking the fifth is like saying you're guilty, but you're not saying you're guilty because you can't legally incriminate, or you don't have to legally incriminate yourself, but you sort of incriminate yourself by not incriminating yourself, right? It's hard to be like totally innocent and you're like, I can't tell you I didn't do that crime, and you're like making stuff up just to, it doesn't work that way. You have to actually literally say, I can't answer that question of incrimination. Unfortunate, but still, it is the way it is. And if you've committed a crime, you certainly don't want to have somebody go, did you commit the crime? And then you're like, oh shit, I got to answer that, don't I? Damn it. No, you don't have to answer that. Because then you got to lie, and then you get in trouble for lying, and you're going to get busted, right? You're screwed either way. That's what we got away with. Tyranny. July 4th. Full circle, I hope, kind of. Folks, we couldn't do this without you guys. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you watching. I hope you hit that thumbs up button. Please do, because it actually helps a lot with the video, even especially at this far end of it, at this point, to be able to say I liked this video now. And hell, even if you don't like it now, that's actually fine too. But whatever, please commit one way or the other if you don't mind, because it actually helps with the algorithm a tremendous amount. And also, please make sure you're subscribed to me, at least on one of my many platforms. That said, I love you guys. I should pull up real quick too, Twitter, my X, right? See if I can find my X account. Because a lot of people don't actually know it, and it's kind of a weird way. So it's at OTF with DRS. At OTF with DRS. Once again, at OTF with DRS. Guys, you can DM me and stuff, I think, if you're following me, or I got to follow you too. I don't know how that works, but it's a place where I put out my shorts. It's a great little place. There and Truth seem to be 2 really good places outside of Rumble where I'm definitely available sort of from time to time. And I do put my music on these channels too. So all said, I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys continue to move forward. And for all you guys, there's a bunch of you guys I know that are having major Twitter wars and are getting very involved in the big picture, the X wars, whatever the hell we call it. So I love it. Keep doing it, guys. Keep being a ripple however you do it, however you feel comfortable, however you see fit. Be a ripple. Certainly try to get involved in local stuff, but keep rippling. You're making a difference. You're changing the world. And that's what all of us came here to do. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.